Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem
A new nation hears their first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, speak these words, so full of promise for the future.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
For the next 40 years, that promise seems to be heading towards fulfillment. The nation develops, standing up to a number of trials. However, with the coming of the 90s, India is confronted by a set of economic challenges unlike any it has faced before. A new approach is required to move the country forward into the new decade and then into the new century. This is a story that was 2 decades in the making. It began with a crisis and became the story of a turnaround, of an economic miracle. This is the incredible story of India. The 1990s. The government relaxes its grip on the economy. For the first time, trade and investment restrictions are gradually lifted. Indian companies can now expand as they please. They're also free to raise funds abroad. Foreign investments are allowed. The nation breathes free, and a new story begins to be scripted.
It was the story of the unbinding of the shackles that have held us back. Our story, in fact, is a story from below. It's the rise of the people. It's the rise of millions of entrepreneurs.
As a result, in 2010, the country's GDP comfortably exceeds the $1 trillion mark and is expected to double in the next 5 years. The country's economy has also grown at about 8% for over a decade and is now second only to China. Remarkably, the nation now ranks 4th in the world ahead of Germany in terms of purchasing power parity. India is also now an important member of the G20. The economic interventions of the 90s are seen to be achieving their ends. In a matter of 20 years, India has become a significant player on the world's economic stage.
I think for the world, the renewed interest is about India's growth story and a sustainable growth story. They see that India is a long-term market for their products, for their services. They see India as a manufacturing hub for their products which they can sell to the domestic market as well as sell it in the global market. They see India as a center for good quality human resource which they can use for their research and development, innovation, which can then be applied all over the world.
For foreign investors, the country is now an attractive destination for various reasons. A skilled, educated middle class can provide talent for those who seek it. Indian consumers are a large and potentially lucrative market for a wide range of products. To benefit from these opportunities, many companies set up manufacturing units in various parts of the country. In a matter of just a few years, consumer goods like mobile phones, computers, and automobiles are everywhere. However, these are only the outward signs of a fast-changing and growing economy. The real change is deeper still.
I think the most important thing that has happened since '91, when the market economy changed, is that the Indian public has the luxury of choice, which he never had before. We were in a shortage economy for years. The customer bought whatever he got. He today is in the driver's seat. It's changed his mindset.
If the change in the economic climate brings choice, then choice brings with it a plethora of opportunities. These new options begin to affect citizens everywhere. On the social front, for example, parents who earlier would have pushed their children towards stable government jobs are now open to new careers. Indian companies begin to take note that the nation has changed. This new India is increasingly aware and confident of its talent and ability. It knows quality and demands it. Without making fundamental changes, the nation's companies can no longer presume to hold their own in this changing market. In the 90s, economic factors presented the country's pharma companies with prospects they had never had before.
Indian pharma industry is among the few industries from India which have globalized, very early in its life cycle. It's a very fast-growing industry. It's clocking growth rates of almost currently at about 15%. And that's going to continue because it's going to reflect the economic growth in this country. People are no longer just looking for entering certain markets, but they're looking at leadership position in the major markets of the world. I'm quite sure that in the next 15 years, if that's the time frame you're looking at, there will be an Indian discovered product out in those global pharmaceutical markets.
This ambition and confidence has a successful forerunner in the information technology industry. In 1993, a small, relatively unknown company, Infosys Technologies, offers shares to the public for the first time. The initial market response they receive is muted. Today, the company is widely respected, trusted, and highly valued. Infosys' success and the success of other companies like it turns the spotlights on the great value Indian IT companies are bringing to the world.
Well, I think the first thing is it's been able to give enormous productivity gains to our customers and partners around the world. So Indian IT is a very key element in the supply chain around the world in the knowledge space in order to improve productivity, efficiency, customer care, customer service. If you want to do a project tomorrow in Bangalore and you want 200 people, we can put together a team in a week's time. You can't put together such a team anywhere else in the world.
In India's financial capital, Mumbai, another indigenous team has been proving their unique skills for over 125 years. Mumbai's Dabbawalas represent the nation's entrepreneurship at its homegrown best. Dabbawala is a compound word in Hindi. It means a person who delivers boxes, in this case, lunch or tiffin boxes. Without computers or education, these Dabbawalas collect and deliver 400,000 hot meals every day across the sprawling metropolis. Forbes magazine awarded the Dabbawalas a 6 Sigma rating, recognizing that they just had one error in every 6 million transactions they conduct. This is a great achievement, since the minimum requirements to qualify are much lower, at 3.4 errors per million. The super efficient Dabbawalas are lauded the world over for having evolved a system that, without external input, incorporates the soundest management ideas.
मालिक बनने से उसकी काम करने की भावना बदल जाती है। अगर हमारे कस्टमर केयर एंड कस्टमर सेटिस्फेक्शन देने के हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं, इतना टीम वर्क है, टाइम मैनेजमेंट है, कोडिंग के बारे में जानकारी है, सप्लाई चेन है, लॉजिस्टिक है, बहुत सारे जो मैनेजमेंट के जो तत्व है बुक में पढ़ाए जाते हैं वो हमारा प्रैक्टिकली हो रहा है।
Experience and thorough market understanding give the Dabbawalas their edge. This comprehensive grasp of the market benefits another vital sector of the economy, telecom. In 1994 and then in 1999, the Indian telecommunications policy is revamped. These revisions lay the foundations for changes that will make the nation the world's fastest growing telecommunications market.
Affordability, which changed the paradigm of this industry. And what happened along with that was the network started going into the suburban and then deep rural areas. And the third was the handset prices itself, which were $800–900 have now come down to as low as $20.
The nation takes to the telephone in a big way. Today, 723 million phone connections exist, and 18 million new connections are added every month.
Well, I think you rarely get markets which are the size of India, over 1 billion people, very young population, willing to adopt to technologies, and that's what India, to my mind, gave us a platform for this vibrant growth of the mobile telephony. But in turn, I would say mobile telephony has truly democratized India. Everybody has a phone, access to information, can communicate wherever he wants to. So I think it's been a truly helpful relationship.
Today, that relationship is developing fast, and Indians from every walk of life have a lot to look forward to from the telecom industry.
I think agri-services, a lot of agriculture inputs are being done through mobile phones into rural India now, and that is picking up momentum. Health is not yet launched, but there's a big talk of mobile health. I mean, these are not in the realms of future things, but they are now actually happening in the laboratory, so they need to be pushed into the markets now.
A similar trend was seen in the automobile industry. In the early 90s, the government allows auto majors to manufacture cars in the country. Many global auto giants like General Motors, Ford, and Hyundai take advantage of this change. At the same time, the flourishing banking sector makes car loans affordable and easy to obtain for most Indians. From then on, there is no looking back. The ambition and confidence of the Indian auto industry finds expression in a small car, the Tata Nano. 500 scientists and engineers designed the Nano's body twice and the engine 3 times. The result? An astonishing example of affordable, frugal innovation at an incredible price point, just $2,000.
Nano surprised the world. People thought you could never produce a car for that kind of price. And that too from a developing country rather than a developed country. In my view, in India, what the Nano represents is that we have created a low-cost, affordable family car
The quest for customers and markets abroad is a reflection of India's growing economic ambition. In the last decade, Indian companies have merged with or acquired other, sometimes larger firms in their pursuit of growth and excellence.
Well, I think Indian companies have been doing a lot more of acquisitions globally. I think it's a sign of self-confidence in the Indian business that they can now run global companies, and they're doing it to access products, access technology, access global markets, access new customer segments, or to export their business model.
Well, it's a sign of confidence and it's a sign of capability. One is the capital that you have to buy, and second is the ability and confidence to manage those companies. And I just think it's a coming of, it's another phase. I mean, it's a coming of age.
In the new century, Indian companies are changing, and so is India. With economic growth comes a significant transformation. The nation's women are suddenly not only more visible in the workforce, they're heading companies.
You know, I don't think new technologies have any raised eyebrows. Whether it was IT, whether it is biotechnology, I don't think people are going to look at you and say that you're from India and that you're led by a woman. I think the fact that I was able to take this company from literally a fledgling startup based on a very small capital of 10,000 rupees to a valuation of $1 billion when it went public in 2004, and today being ranked as amongst the top 20 biotech companies in the world, I think that's what makes it inspirational, which means that it is possible to create such companies in such a short period of time in the new India.
Inspiration for new ideas was everywhere, even in social spheres. To anyone looking carefully, it was clear that with affluence and exposure to the world, traditional Indian weddings had changed. For some entrepreneurs, this was all the encouragement they needed.
In a country and a culture that is so obsessed with marriage, the opportunity to meet potential life partners is so few. We see a very interesting dynamic emerging. I think the youth today holds Indian traditions and culture in very high regard while embracing newer technologies and ideas at the same time. Everybody wants to exercise some sort of choice in the most important decision of their lives, and gone are the days where you simply say, okay, you look at a photograph and get married. And that's the problem that we're trying to solve at Shaadi.com.
Well, if you talk about Indian couture, it pretty much revolves around the great Indian wedding industry. And it's also because India is probably the only country in the world where high fashion or luxury fashion actually makes money. Everywhere else in the world, it's done for effect, but over here, see, we actually make money in couture, and it's a huge industry. Everybody knows that.
For some entrepreneurs, this was all the encouragement they needed. And the sheer numbers the country's film and television industries serve make it a market that cannot be ignored.
Well, I think broadly anyone from a global audience needs to understand that media and entertainment in India is one of the fastest growing segments. So for anyone really looking at growth, India is a very focal point. It's not about just being one of the most selected ones, but it's really a focal point. Well, I think for the film industry, it is a unique market because it's a very strong local market. What I think the sort of large screen or the movie industry, which is the oldest industry, about 110, 120 years old, did for about 20, 30, 40, 60 million people watching in theaters and then of course on television. Broadcasting opened that up and made it into 85 million cable homes and 110 million television homes.
These large numbers, particularly of the urban middle class, alter various aspects of popular entertainment and industry. The emergence of the Indian consumer, coupled with the giant strides the nation is taking on the economic front, becomes central to India's success story.
Economic growth has risen and prosperity is beginning to spread. We have an exploding middle class, and even the poor have been benefited. 1% of the poor have been crossing the poverty line since the mid-1980s. So over 25 years, more than 200 million people have crossed the poverty line. And this is significant.
At least a part of this positive change can be attributed to the giant steps India's space research program has made. Today, another ISRO initiative is helping doctors make healthcare cheaper and more accessible both in the nation and abroad.
We started telemedicine with Indian Space Research Organization around 9 years ago. We have treated over 53,000 heart patients in remote locations of India entirely free. With the support from the IT, we are going to redefine the way the operations are done, clinical research is done, medical education happens. Everything will be redefined by us because of our IT backup. We are going to be a country where essentialities of human life will be provided to everyone, including the people with nothing.
Newer, innovative interventions now bring the benefits of India's increased affluence to the poorest of the poor.
The question is, what is the purpose of the business? 8 years ago, we conceptualized a concept of micro health insurance in association with the government of Karnataka. This is called Symphony, where we collected 5 rupees, that's 11 cents from 1.7 million farmers. And we launched a health insurance which would cover the cost of all the major surgeries done on the human body, starting from a heart operation to cataract surgery. And this 5 rupees insurance proved to the world that it is possible to run a health insurance with money as low as 11 cents per month.
From interventions in healthcare to the innovative use of information technology, this modern, confident India is discovering new ways to bring the benefits of economic growth to every citizen. It is also increasingly a player of note on the world stage, not only because of its economic strength, but also through its soft power. Through ancient systems and traditional knowledge, India invites the world to connect with both its ancient past and its present. In the recent past, many world leaders have chosen to take that invitation, honoring India with their presence and recognizing the place it has taken on the world stage.
You know, one of my friends once asked me, how did you Indians go from, having the biggest inferiority complex to the biggest superiority complex within 5 days? And it's absolutely true. I think a lot of it has to do with economic success. It also has to do with the idea of Indianness that has emerged.
We are a country of paradoxes. We have always been. We are a country of extremes. We have gone from no phone to the most modern telephone, mobile phone in less than 10 years. We have gone from no radio to color TV with 200 channels. We leapfrog the development. We go from one step to the other step, bypassing 30 years, 40 years of development. This is India.
India, a country that defies definition, a secular democracy, confident, eager to grow and to excel, nostalgic and old-fashioned, all at the same time. Many Indias learning to live together every day.